something is big with gold. And I mean, I almost hate saying it, but something is going, I've been saying something's happening with gold. Um, you know, the US has become a net importer, and massive deliveries, and everyone talking about revaluation and Trump coming out. You mentioned at the onset, his quote was the golden rule of negotiating excess. He who has the gold makes the rules. Thank you. Well, where the heck did that come from? That was on Easter Sunday. He who has the gold makes the rules. This is the golden rule of negotiating success, he says. Well, we're an importer of gold. Scott Bessent, who recently came out and said that we need a new monetary system, a new Bretton Woods, and that will happen probably within the next 4 years, he said, during this administration. He's a self-proclaimed gold bug. It was his largest holding when he was running the hedge fund. Something's going on with gold. And, Judy Shelton, Trump told me she said that on my show. I don't know if she said it on yours, but he's going to issue treasuries backed by gold July 4th, 2026. He told me that. She said, something's going on with gold. I believe it is quietly being reintegrated or really reintegrated into the monetary system. No one knows about it yet. Drop a gold coin on the table with some of your friends who don't follow your work done again and see if they can talk to you for 60 seconds about it. They can't. The public isn't aware of it yet. It's the big money, the central banks, the commercial banks, the family offices, the sovereign wealth funds. Okay, they get it. No one else does. Nobody does. And to me, gold is going to go a whole hell of a lot higher, if I had to guess. I really do believe that. Higher than people think. And silver is a coiled spring. It's been held down for so long. Who knows what the real price is? But, we've always talked about historically silver lags behind gold. That's true. And when it catches up, it's 2 to 5 times the performance in terms of percentage gain. But the gold silver ratio is your timing signal. You go back through history, anytime it gets to 80 to 1, it's time to go heavy into silver. Anytime. And it's only touched 100 to 1 3 or 4 times in the last 200 years. I mean, literally. And every single time it's got anywhere near then, it shoots right back down, which I would expect silver to greatly outperform percentage-wise, according to historical norms, according to geological ratios, according to, I look at China and I talk about this all the time. I've said it on your show 1,000 times. They're the second largest producer in the world. Why are they flying around the world going to Peru and buying doré and concentrate and all around Latin America right from the miners? This disintermediates the acquisition. No one knows how much they're buying. It doesn't affect the price. And if they are the second largest producer, why the hell, if it's not doing anything, why would they fly around and buy concentrate and doré, pay double what the West will, send it back and refine it? Why is Russia buying it for their stockpile? Why has India bought 7, 8, 900 million ounces over the last 5 years? Why? Because they understand what's going on. They're playing the long game. They get it. If it weren't for the naked short positions that have been destroying the prices of gold and silver for all these years, silver would be massively higher if it weren't for the military industrial complex needing silver to make bombs to blow up countries. And then that same military industrial complex, aka BlackRock, who is the primary custodian along with JP Morgan of SLV and GLD, they own the majority of the military contractors, so they blow up the countries with the bombs that they make with cheap silver, and then they get the reconstruction contracts. It's a sweet deal for them. That's why silver has been cheap. That game is coming to an end. The delivery mechanism is what is destroying their ability to manipulate. And if Basel III is as significant as we think it will be coming this July, it is the ability to naked short and lease gold that has enabled them to continue this game of gold and silver suppression. Maybe that's coming to an end. I am very confident that silver will have its moment, and it will be to the upside, not to gold's downside, because I think gold will go a whole hell of a lot higher, much higher. In fact, I did an interview with Matt Riley, and we were figuring it out, and he was saying $6,000 was his number by next July. And listen to the video and you can see why. And James Rickards is 24,000, and who knows how high it gets. But if I had to guess, gold will outperform people's expectations, and silver will outperform gold on a percentage basis before the music stops. Silver will not be included in the reset in terms of a tier 1 asset, but I think there is a realization by the world, the central banks in particular, the governments, that silver is no longer just industrial, it's strategic. So it won't really be part of the reset as gold will be. But remember, there's over a 90% correlation in movement for 5,000 years between the two. So it will be, but not directly. I think it will come along with gold's rise. It won't be per se part of the reset, but it will be part of the reset. It just won't be officially part of the reset, but I believe it will follow and probably be the most impressive performing asset of our generation. I have a hard time believing anything but. And if it weren't for the military industrial complex and their diabolical desire to fund war around the world and then hopefully get the construction contracts to rebuild what they blew up, silver would be a whole hell of a lot higher if it was traded freely. And maybe this is the beginning of some form of free trading when the rest of the world is saying, okay, continue to short it on your stupid exchanges. We'll just stand for delivery. And you see the pushback of the Bank of England and the LBMA. Well, we don't have enough trucks to deliver it. So you're looking at an 8-week delivery instead of 3 days. So, you know, it's breaking. You're watching it break. I think we're watching gold be reintegrated. Silver is still trying to find its place and to find its breakout point, but gold is quietly, and the volatility that you see up, down 200, up 200, down 200, up 200, that volatility that we are seeing is keeping the mainstream at bay, but yet it continues to march higher. You'll see it march higher. I mean, here we are again in the aftermarket. It's up $41 right now. It was down 80 today. It was up 110 the other day. I mean, it's like, it's insane. And I remember an article that Jeff wrote, and he showed the greater the volatility you see typically portrays a breakout. And so to either way, up or down. So I'm not convinced that the downside risk is really that prevalent right now in gold. Something bigger is happening, but the volatility is enough to keep most people from entering into the space, yet it continues to move higher ultimately. So yeah, I just think that the best is in store for those of us who have strong enough fingertips to hold on through all of this volatility, through all of this counterintuitive price action, through all of the madness that you know, makes us gray. Those of us that have held and understood what's happening, but it didn't quite materialize the way we had hoped. It will, just not when we think or how we think, but it will. You look at Platinum Eagles as an example. They only made roughly 30-ish thousand last year, the last several years per year. They haven't made any yet this year, to my knowledge. They haven't made much in the way of Silver Eagles since Trump took office. So instead of just stopping it, I think they would just make it, you know, as rare as hen's teeth. Only those that act quickly will get it. If you've ever tried to, you know, if you go to usmint.gov, you can buy proof coins, and you can't buy the type that we typically recommend, the commercial strike, but very often they'll have some new issue like the Morgan dollars or the peace dollars that, you know, the commemorative new coins that represent those from, you know, the turn of the century. Or if you're not on their website within 10 seconds of it coming out, you don't get them. It's like buying concert tickets for the Rolling Stones kind of thing. It's like if you don't do it quick, they're sold out. I think that could be the same thing with the primary distributors. They'll just gobble everything up and sell them at high premiums, and that's it. Sorry, we don't have enough availability. There's too much global demand. So instead of just closing the mint, I think they would just greatly constrict what's available and wouldn't have to deal with the global backlash of doing something of that nature. I don't think the inventory levels are that great right now. They were, and I screamed it for over a year. All the stuff that was so affordable, that being the back dates. So, you know, you go back to last year, you had the rise of the Mag 7, you had performance of Bitcoin, and you had the Trump trade where everything seemed like it was, you know, this risk on trade, and people were selling gold and silver and buying, you know, Nvidia. People were growing tired of the counterintuitive nature, and then Trump gets elected and everything's going to be great. And so there was a big overhang in product because, you know, last year was a great year, but way off the year before. And then Trump comes along, and now, you know, everyone is on the sidelines. So there's this massive overhang of product. And as I mentioned on your show before, then at the beginning of the year, dealers have to spend literally tens of millions of dollars. If you own Miles Franklin, you have to go and buy Maple Leafs, Philharmonics, Krugerrands, Kangaroos, Britannias, and Eagles gold, silver, platinum if they're available, various sizes. If you don't and you don't have that, well, you become irrelevant. So not only with the public, but also with the refineries and the mints and the distributors. And so you're putting out $50 million or more, whatever the number is, to buy all of that stuff, but you're choking on inventory as it is. And I can, you can sell gold eagles, for the same price that you're buying brand new gold eagles from the mint or the primary distributor. It's a very troubling situation. So for all of last year, most of it anyway, and the first several months of this year, product was, you know, that was certainly not an issue, and premiums were next to nothing. We are beginning to see that change. All of the backdate silver coins that we had for sale, tens and tens and tens of thousands, are all but gone. And so you're buying 2025 stuff. The backdate gold eagles are now 28 days out on my website or on my back end portal, meaning we're hopefully get them in the next 3 to 4 weeks. You're buying 2025s. The point of it is that and I've said this so many times, it can switch on the drop of a hat. Mm-hmm. Again, I talked with Rick the other day, and 0.5% allocation. He keeps saying it. So if that just goes to 2.5%, it's a fivefold increase. And just like that, everything changes. So we've seen an increase in demand, I think, from sophisticated money. The order sizes are far bigger than we're accustomed to seeing, far bigger. The smaller orders, they're not there still, but the big orders can very quickly drain everything you have. And I truly do believe that it's starting to shift. The premiums on things like junk silver are still ridiculously cheap. It is the best value, period, in silver. But a lot of the sovereign mint coins are becoming hard to get again on the backside, the back date, the non-2025s. Those were where the real value was. So inventory is still decent, nowhere near what it was. And all it takes is one reason for people to realize that this is real. And in a matter of a day or two, in North America wide, you're having a hard time getting your order filled with any expediency. I'm not trying to dramatize it or over dramatize it, but it is becoming tighter noticeably to me in what was a overwhelmingly flush and low premium environment. I mean, premiums are lower than I'd ever seen for a good portion of last year and the beginning of this year. During the first quarter, that's all of a sudden changed.